Good morning, everybody. My name is Rick Thigpen. I am the Vice President for State Government Affairs for Public Service, so I'd like to call your favorite public utility. So those of you who know me know I've spoken often about the value of partnerships. And today is a living proof of that. You know, Bob Marley once said, the hotter the battle, the sweeter the victory. And I think that that applies to our day today. This is a very sweet day for public service. And you know, someone once said, and it's true here, it takes a village to raise a switching station. And that's what's happened here today, and you're going to hear from a good part of that village. So by having dialogue, by listening, by reaching compromise, we have developed a public-private partnership that is investing in this community, and we're very proud of it. And who better to have as a private sector partner in a public-private partnership than a company called Public Service? And Public Service is a better company as a result of this experience today in the West Ward. And I want to publicly thank Vivian Frazier and Dorian Johnson for helping make that possible. So at Public Service, our business is an example of and is in fact made possible by public-private partnerships. We are a private corporation with an extremely important public trust, the responsibility to provide and care for the safe, reliable supply of energy for the customers and communities we serve. And you know, we've been doing this for 115 years, headquartered every year in the city of Newark. And by working together, we are now able to dedicate not only this critical piece of energy infrastructure that will increase reliability, resiliency, and drive economic development, but we are also here to celebrate this facility's groundbreaking artistic design, a first of its kind anywhere in the region as a cultural centerpiece for this neighborhood and for the entire city of Newark. And we have a great program today for you. And it begins with the president of PSE&G. And I have him come up here and speak to you. His name is Dave Daly. Some of you may know him as the Irishman of the Year in Essex County. He became president of PSE&G in October of 2017. Before that, he was president of PSEG Long Island for 4 years. But all of that is part of a 35-year career at public service. I am so proud to introduce to you the president of PSE&G and have him come up and say a few remarks, Dave Daly.
Thank you very much, Rick. And as Rick said, it's a real pleasure to be here. In 35 years with PSE&G, I don't think I've ever experienced anything like this. I just want to start by saying how happy I am to be here today to unveil and talk about this Fairmont Heights switching station and this beautiful art installation. It's a long time coming, but I think as everybody can see today, it was worth the wait. Today is all about art, and it's about this artistic asset that I sincerely believe is the beginning of a cultural expansion that will benefit not only this wonderful neighborhood, but also the entire city of Newark. Let me just say a few words first about what's on the other side of these walls. This station represented a roughly $280 million investment by PSE&G in Newark's critical electric infrastructure. The value on that investment will be seen in a number of ways. The project, first and foremost, will help keep the lights on, especially during severe weather. But it will also mean improved public health and safety in this neighborhood and beyond. It will benefit the city's economy now and into the future. And of course, it will contribute to the beauty and the enjoyment of the historic Fairmont Heights neighborhood. Perhaps the best way to put this whole project into context is to go back to October 29th, 2012. And of course, everybody knows that's the day that Superstorm Sandy made landfall in New Jersey. During Sandy, almost 90% of PSE&G's 2.2 million customers were without power. And here in the city of Newark, over 90% of the residents of Newark were without power at one point for almost 24 hours. Sandy revealed the vulnerability of our existing infrastructure. It's not an experience any of us would like to live through again. And ultimately, this switching station, the Fairmont Heights switching station, will represent a major upgrade to our infrastructure, supporting reliability in this city and the surrounding areas. Had this switching station been in place during Sandy, thousands of customers within the city of Newark and this neighborhood would not have lost power, even as the storm raged. But as we said, while reliability and fortifying electric is a critical part of what we do, this project brings so much more. It improves public health and safety. The property that we're here on today fell into disrepair and we invested in a thorough environmental cleanup of this entire property. There are economic benefits as well. In addition to taking a dormant piece of real estate and putting it back to productive use, providing energy and tax revenues to the city and the state, a more resilient and reliable grid provides economic development as well to the city. This station provides a level of capacity and reliability that is required of a major city like the city of Newark. It's a kind of energy certainty that's required to attract businesses into this city. And finally, we built this facility intending it not just to be a useful addition to the neighborhood, but an actual work of art, which is just the most amazing part of this entire day. We started with the basics: beautiful brickwork, old-fashioned streetlights, new sidewalks, detailed landscaping, not to mention lots of other aesthetic improvements around the property. But the key to it all, and the reason we're here today, is the unique collection of original works of art that adorn this station's protective wall. At this place, together we all saw a canvas and an opportunity to create a new cultural hub. The canvas stands 30 feet high, which must have been irresistible to the men and women whose works are now being dedicated today. But imagine bringing together 14 internationally accomplished artists, about half of them examples of Newark's best homegrown talent, to focus their energy on the beautification of a single block in this wonderful neighborhood. And that's not all. This station's unique promenade invites outsiders to visit and experience the artwork, turning this place into a destination. And I especially admire the glass display cases around the corner. If you have a moment, take a look afterwards, you'll see how they're being set up, where local artwork will be able to be put up for view, and local residents can make their mark on this canvas year after year. All of us at PSE&G, and myself, I count among them, are extremely proud of what this project has become. As Rick said, we are a better company because of the path that we all traveled together to get here. By working together, PSE&G, the City of Newark, the Fairmont Heights Neighborhood Association, and the Urban League, and scores of individuals have built something truly special. PSE&G is committed to its customers and the communities we serve, including a deep commitment to Newark, which has been our home for over 100 years. Our name is public service, and we work hard to live up to that name. We are proud to be a company that engages people and communities and to live up to our founder's credo, which was to make New Jersey a better place to live and work. This station will fortify the city's electric grid and provide more reliable, resilient power for everyone. But over the course of its development, the station has become much more than a shiny new piece on the grid. It's my hope that it will help strengthen the community and the city. It will turn a once forgotten property into a vital community center, as well as a cultural attraction. It will help make this neighborhood safer, healthier place to live and work. Our company's investment will provide the power that drives new investments in the city's economy and its people. The transformation on display today will support a brighter future, not just for PSE&G and our customers, but for everyone. Thank you so much for coming today, everyone, and I look forward to the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Let me briefly recognize, I noticed here Councilman Quintana, Councilman Gonzalez, and Councilman Osborne from the City of Newark, as well as Freeholder Richardson and Freeholder Johnson, who I'm going to talk about a little bit later because he had a big part in this announcement. Let's just give them a quick round of applause, please. So like I said, it took a village to raise this switching station. And the man we call number one in this village is here today. He really was the man with the plan, and he's the man who helped make this public-private partnership truly possible. Mayor Baraka is a native of Newark. He's a former South Ward councilman, the former principal at Central High School, the son of a world-renowned poet, and he is himself a published author and spoken word artist. And I've told him this many times, I'll say it again. This switching station gave Mayor Baraka his PhD in PSE&G, and we are all better off as a result of it. And I'd like to ask the mayor of the great city of Newark to come up, Mayor Baraka.
Good. It's a great day. So, I mean, us being here today reminds us that global warming is real and that we should probably send a nice letter to President Trump to let him understand why we're doing this today. We talked about Superstorm Sandy, the vulnerability of our residents, of our community, from wind, rain, snow, all of the elements that make our lives very precarious. And we depend on institutions like PSE&G to make sure that we can live through these situations, that we actually have power, that we have heat, that we have electricity, even in the worst of situations. So I want to commend PSE&G for taking this problem on straight ahead, for finding a place to fortify and develop so that when Superstorm Sandys or storms like that come to Newark or come to this region, that we have a better chance to maintain power and electricity and a better quality of life and not driven into the dark ages because of a strong storm or heavy rain. So we appreciate that deeply. We appreciate even more the fact that PSE&G was willing to sit down and go through the things that it had to go through with our community. And our community is very vocal, very upfront, very loud, very a matter of fact, know what they want and when they want it. And that's the great thing about being from Newark. So I'm glad to see the county executive here, Senator Ruiz as well, all of the council people that are a part of this. So I want to thank Vivian Cox-Frazier and the Urban League for kind of quarterbacking a lot of these things that are taking place this afternoon, for making sure that the community was a part of it, that there was a benefit agreement that kept the community in mind, that made sure that Newarkers, what we wanted and what we thought was at the forefront of all of this, and to make sure that the community's safety was paramount as well. I want to thank the Fairmount residents and the organization and the citizens of this community and the residents of Georgia King Village for holding down the fort, for coming to those meetings, being very loud and very a matter of fact about what they wanted, what they thought should happen, what they felt about their children and their own safety. And that got us to this point today, because no matter how much negotiating we were able to do, the leverage was given to us because of the community and the activists and the residents of this neighborhood decided to raise their voices about something that was being built across the street from where they lived. So I would love to give them a round of applause and acknowledgement this afternoon. And we want to thank Joe McCallum, the councilman of this ward, for being a part of this as well, for coming to my office, harassing me, and the folks on the second floor to make sure our foot was on the pedal, that we didn't take it off the pedal, and we continued to do that because he also understood that not only was this a measure for the infrastructure of our city, but it was a major boost for the development and the area in this community in the Fairmount District to continue some of the work that Urban League has been doing for a minute over here. So we appreciate that, and you deserve a round of applause for your input and fight to make sure this happened. And last but not least, my favorite part, I just want to thank all of the artists, my brethren, my colleagues, for turning something that could have been stale and ugly and very industrial into something beautiful and livable, and help us ignite a community that needed igniting. Help us continue what we're trying to do in Newark, is use art to revitalize a city that it needed to be revitalized for the last 50 years. People have been saying that we had the longest running Renaissance in the history of the world. But we finally figured out the trick. The secret sauce is two things: collaboration, and the second thing is art. That's the secret sauce. We work together and we paint and we build and we draw and we read poetry and we do all of those things, and Newark is on fire again. So we have international artists here that we are so proud to have a part of this project. But we also have some local artists here that are on this project that are outstanding, that are outrageous, that are going to get a lift because they've partnered with international artists to make this happen. And I have to thank the former deputy mayor, Baye Adolfo Wilson, as well. I don't know if he's here, but I want to thank him for also being at the forefront of this project, to making sure we had the right artists internationally involved in this project to make it, because this is beautiful. So this is an exciting day for Newark. It's one of our proud moments that we turned something that could have been very simple, that we could have forced on the community, that could have turned into something ugly, and we made it beautiful. We cooperated, we collaborated, we argued with one another. We went through democracy, right? And democracy means we fight sometimes. And we did that, but we came out with something very beautiful, something historic, and something that's going to live and test the time of our city for many, 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 many years. I want to thank again everybody that participated in making this day come true. So God bless you and Godspeed to everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. It certainly, this day was not possible without you, so thank you for your leadership and your vision. And the young lady sitting next to you, her name is Kim Hahnemann. I want her to be recognized. She's the Senior Vice President for Delivery Projects and Construction at Public Service, and she's responsible for this work here. Kim? So it's worth mentioning, in a commitment to safety, PSE&G partnered with the City of Newark's Office of Emergency Management, the Police Department, and the Fire Department to create an emergency action plan to further ensure that the safety of the Fairmont Heights community. Safety always comes first in public service. This project, we provide an opportunity to work with local community-based organizations and local elected officials to identify members of the community that were seeking employment. And on that, I should stop and really give another special thanks to a guy named Joe Gingoli sitting there inconspicuously with a hat on, who's done so much to make sure that we've made that work. And to date, a total of 97 residents from the West Ward community in the city of Newark have been hired in support of this project. So like I said, it's funny, Mr. Mayor, talking about upfront and vocal, it reminds me of our next speaker. Our county executive is a lot of things, but he's absolutely upfront and vocal. And my ears are still ringing from conversations with him about this project, and he held me accountable, and he was one of the most fierce advocates to make sure that this project looked good and served this community well. It wasn't easy talking to Joe about this, I can assure you, especially in some of the early days of this project. But for Joe DiVincenzo, county government is his career, and he's serving his 4th term as the Essex County Executive. But before that, Joe was 12 years as a freeholder, including 8 as its freeholder president. Everybody knows his motto, putting Essex County first. And everybody should know that there were few voices louder or more focused to make sure that this project came about in a constructive way for this community than Joe DiVincenzo. It's my honor to have the county executive come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Dave Daly from Public Service and all your employees. Thank you, Mayor Raz Baraka, for your leadership with this facility, and also to the entire council. A big shout out to Joe McCullen. But like the mayor said, the people that actually deserve the credit is the people that live here from the Fairmont. They're the ones who hold us accountable and making sure that we're doing the right thing. So I just want to commend you on that. Right down the block, on June 4th, we're going to be having the cutting the ribbon of the new Congressman Donald Payne School. All right, right across the street, we just opened our Essex County Sheriff's Patrol Building. These two communities, this community and that community, was blighted for over 20 years. And something needed to be done. What's better than have a school on a beautiful property when we're going to make sure that we do our job? And this here, I was a big doubter, I got to tell you, because I'm on the job every day at the school, and I will call them up. I'm going to say, listen, this thing is ugly. I don't like it. I'm building a school. It's got to be done right. There's no question the need was there. We all go through the storm. We all lose power. The need was here. But to put it in the community, it had to be right. And the mayor and the community hold them accountable. But I want you to know, I will call this young man up here constantly and tell them to make it look good. Now, I just want to thank all the artists. You know, this is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful facility. Now I heard we're going to do some landscaping. There's going to be more landscaping to make this thing even beautiful. And to the community center, Vivian, she's going to be doing something out here, I heard, in this community. The city of Newark is on the move. And it's all because of the leadership that the mayor and the council is providing here. The West Ward is on the move. We all need to stick together and hold everyone accountable, including myself. So once again, congratulations, Mayor. Congratulations, Public Service. There's no better partner than Public Service. I want you to know that. Thank you.
And he understated how loud he was on the phone, everybody. So obviously this area is represented by state legislators. This, everybody in the West Ward knows the name Ron Rice, but according to our district maps, this is not exactly in Ron Rice's district, but because it's in the West Ward, Ron Rice cared, and he's been in the state Senate 32 years, and I just want to mention his name. I also want to mention that Assemblywoman Ileana Pintor-Marin, who is now 5 years in our state legislature, is now chair of the Budget Committee, cannot be here today because they're having budget hearings. But we're going to ask to represent our state legislative district, the state senator for this 29th legislative district. She's been in the state Senate 10 years. She's the Senate President Pro Tem and Chair of the Education Committee. And Senator Ruiz was not a quiet person herself during this exercise. She also held meetings with Public Service, made my CEO answer her questions, and was very focused on making sure, like Joe talked about, that we, so to speak, did the right thing in this community. I was so eager to call her to make sure that she was at this event because I felt that her words were very helpful to getting us where we are today, and that in fact Public Service has done the right thing. And I ask to come up now, the Chair of the Education Committee, Senator Teresa Ruiz.
Good afternoon, everyone. So this is a true story. I was touring our vocational school, and I grabbed a quick cup of coffee, and I parked the vehicle. And a woman drove up and lowered her window and said, "What is this, a school?" And I said, "No, it's a switching station." And she said, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful." And then I was looking for Rick Thigpen to see if he was going to write her a check. I thought it was a setup. I say that to all of you because Rick was right. When all of this was the concept, the conversation, the beginning, inception of it, Vivian and I were having numerous conversations, phone calls to the offices. All the elected officials can attest to kind of the sentiment that was being felt by the community, right? The element of unknown, the expectancy of all of us, waiting to see how we were going to be treated. Were we going to be treated equitable and fairly? Were we going to be part of the conversation, or were we going to be excluded so that a corporation could lead in whatever direction they wanted? Today is an example of corporate responsibility here in the city of Newark like we haven't seen in a long time. It is easy to have your corporation in downtown and to be a bystander. But today there is an investment and there's partnership, and it's evidenced in this tangible, pretty good-looking site. How about that one? Is that fair? Okay, Rick is smiling now. But to really see how conversations can create to epic change in our communities, it's critical. It's a reminder that we should never settle for what's first offered, no matter who we are, or where we come from. And that today's artwork also lends a reminder that art is economic development in all of our corridors, that any opportunity we get to expose our children to art, we are opening a new facet and dimension to brain development the way that we haven't seen in a long time. And to the curator, when I met him when we came in, he said there is more room to put more artwork, so I am pitching for the opportunities to put up more artwork. See? That I taught Vivian one thing: don't ask, just keep asking for more. You heard the county executive slip in there. We need a little bit more beautification with trees, so I would expect that that's going to happen. But honestly, to the mayor, a lot of people think statewide or even in our neighborhoods that all of the economic development is happening within a 4-block radius downtown. In the West Ward is on fire. We are seeing development happen from the North Ward to the South Ward communities down in the Ironbound. So the energy that is being epitomized in our downtown corridor is being carried out through our council people, through our mayor, through each level of government. There's a unified force that recognizes that if we put a public policy agenda that represents people, that no one can stop us. And I want to thank Public Service for recognizing that, but most importantly for respecting the community here in the city of Newark, for partnering with us, and for creating a pretty beautiful site. To all of the artists, I am grateful for the work that you've done. I hope that we see even more installations come up in the future. I am not an artist. I pretend to sing sometime at a karaoke, but I love fashion. I love people's ability to express themselves through written word, through spoken word, through photography, and through artwork. And it is just great to see that lend itself here in the West Ward. And how wonderful it'll be when we're driving to work to stop at a light and take a look over and see something beautiful during the course of our day. Thank you and congratulations to all.
Let's look for her to be our state senate president one day, everybody. So, you know, it took a village to raise this switching station. And I want to mention a couple of names as we go forward. One of them is a lawyer, many of you may not know. His name is Frank Giantomasi, who, the first person who had the vision of what actually happened here on this whole 8.5-acre block. And I want to thank another lawyer named Glenn Scotland to bring that vision to life. He did enormous work for us. I mean, I'll be forever in Glenn's debt for the work he's done for us here. Mr. Mayor, I see him here now, and the other gentleman who worked very closely with Glenn Scotland was Deputy Mayor Baye Wilson. I see him sitting here. I know you recognized him before, but that's worth mentioning. You know, we are in the West Ward, and I'm going to introduce him later, but I would be remiss not to notice that David Ajay is here, and he was, I'm going to introduce him later, but this young man was President Obama's choice to be the architect for the National Museum of African American History and Culture, the Smithsonian. And he's here with us today in Newark, everybody. That's a beautiful thing. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for that also. Having said that, we are in the West Ward, and the West Ward does have a councilman, and we did work hand in hand every step of the way, and every day wasn't a sunny, shiny day like it is today during this project, was it, Joe? I would be remiss not to mention a young man who I think you know. He's a freeholder now named Rufus Johnson, who worked very well with me. He's a son of the West Ward and was a big help to helping me figure out this puzzle. And before I bring you up, Joe, there's always time for another public service commercial. And you know that Public Service spent approximately $37 million with Newark-based vendors in creation of this Fairmont Heights switching station, and bought about $4 million in goods and services from Newark vendors as we built this. And this new technique, and I will once again mention Joe Gingoli, because, you know, Joe D. just mentioned, it's a special day for me. First off, June 4th is my birthday, in case nobody knew, and he's going to have the opening for the Donald Payne Vocational High School. I am the former district director for Congressman Donald Payne, who that's named after, so that's a very special day for me. So Joe McCallum is a very influential man, obviously, but he is the councilman for the West Ward. I believe this was among the first projects he took as councilman for the West Ward. In fact, even before he was councilman for the West Ward, he was an enormous help to us. He helped see this project through from its earliest conception to the very end. As I said, every day wasn't a pretty day, but Joe stuck with it. Public Service owes Joe McCallum a debt of gratitude for your leadership, for your determination, for the things you've done. And I would ask Joe to come on up here and say a few words about this station for which you had so much to do. Thank you, Joe.
Wow. This is an exciting day, but it's also an emotional day for me, because I just brought back all these memories when I was getting my butt reamed going around here in these community meetings by Vivian, and who's my best friend now, Mr. Johnson. So one of the things that this has done is created some lifelong friends for me. I don't even know where to start. I was in the blackout on Hurricane Sandy, and my lights were out about 2 weeks. So I knew when public service came to me that we needed to upgrade the infrastructure. It was a mandate, and I just thought that we could parlay the whole situation. We were $90 million in deficit, and I just thought we could parlay this whole project into something to create benefits for the whole ward. And I want to congratulate public service for a job well done. Let's give them a hand for that. I mean, we're not just saying public service is a great corporation. They're a great corporation because we lived it, right, Mayor? We lived it. They've never lied to me. Matter of fact, a lot of these things, a lot of this, of this project, they recommend it. Like we would be in meetings and they would say, well, how about if we did this? Or how about if we did that? So they were with us 100% the whole time. And I have a little story about Rick. When I was the aide, we used to meet on the first floor in public service. You know, we have these meetings about the switching station and planning moving forward. But after I got elected, all of a sudden I was meeting with him on the fourth floor. I said, there's a smart guy here, right? So being a council person does mean something. But I just want to say I'm happy for the Fairmount area. I'm happy for Georgia King Village. They're fixing Georgia King Village up. You have the Sheriff's Department up the hill, the schools. You have Newark Collegiate Academy down the street. So I don't know how much more we could do in this community, but we're working hard every day. And for Ivy Hill not to be left out, we had community meetings in Vailsburg, and it was always in my mind that Ivy Hill was getting blackouts and brownouts. So we definitely had to upgrade the infrastructure, and that's what we've done. So moving forward, they're going to be paving the streets. I thought the mayor usually talks about that. He didn't talk about it this morning. He said 30 miles of Newark streets will be eventually paved. So you see them doing work out here. They're going to pave the streets. We have minority contractors that got in on the job. We have for some kids here that got hired by Jingoli and some of the other companies that have careers now. We were not playing around on this project, even down to what stores they bought the lunch from. They lunch from Papa Pat's. They bought their oil from Reuben Oil down the street. They used mayonnaise across the street. So we were on everything in this project, and this is the result. And I want just one more thing. Remember what was here 5 years ago. We have short memories. But as the council person, when I got in office and I rode down Littleton Avenue, I didn't know what I was going to do, because this thing had been sitting here 25 years or 20 or 25 years. But look at it now. And this is just the beginning, because on the other side of the property, the agreement called for public service to give us that 3 acres. So out of that's going to come a housing, a drugstore, an adult daycare. So we're not finished by a long shot in Fairmount. So I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank public service again, thank my colleagues, thank the mayor for being here. Listen, like the mayor said, I go to the mayor never refuses anything, right? He's cool and calm, but he knows what's going on. And when I go to him, he was giving me the leverage to negotiate. Vivian, you know I love you. Vivian, where's Vivian? Vivian is a tough negotiator, let me tell you. Where's my main man, Mr. Johnson, from Fairmount Heights Association? Let's give Mr. Johnson and Vivian a hand, and their team, the Fairmount Heights Neighborhood Association, Georgia King Village. They were great. They were kicking my butt, but now we're all friends. So I'm happy about that. So thanks, everybody. I love you all, and this is a good thing.
What a beautiful day. So I think I said it once, it took a village to raise the switching station. And our interaction with this community, I think I also said, has left public service a better corporation, able to handle more challenges in more places in the future than maybe we did before we came here. And the next young lady I'm going to speak, Joe just referred to her, was a big part of that village. Vivian Frazier is the president and CEO of the Urban League of Essex County for the last 14 years. She is a dedicated community organizer, and she holds a deep commitment to this community. And I can't tell you how thrilled Vivian was to know that we were coming into this neighborhood when she first heard about it. And I can make that joke today because we've been on such a long journey together. And as Joe said, it's not a happy ending because we're just getting started. There's a lot more to come in this neighborhood. I said it to Vivian and Joe when we first started. I don't think they believed me. Public service is going to leave this community better after it was here than when we found it. And a lot of people didn't think that was going to happen. And I'll let Vivian speak for herself on whether or not she's convinced yet. She is a very, 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 very strong advocate for the community. And she has not backed down to us in any occasion, even we tried to get her to. So it's really my privilege to let this young lady who did so much to make this happen come up here and say a few words, and that's Vivian Frazier, the president of the Urban League.
This is for the photo. All right. All right, this is a great day. Great day. Great day in Fairmont, great day in Newark. So I'm Vivian Cox Frazier. I'm the president and CEO of the Urban League of Essex County. The League and the Fairmont Heights Neighborhood Association welcomes you to Fairmont. We welcome Mayor Baraka, PSNG President Dave Daly, Councilman McCallum, Sir David Ajay, and Algira, the artists, community leaders, and stakeholders. We are delighted that you could join us today for the unveiling of the Art Wall project. The work of the Urban League empowers people to realize their dreams. And because of the transformation of this site, the Fairmont Station will serve a critical role to provide power to support today's needs and the future growth of our local and regional economy. It's no secret that the station was controversial. We certainly fought to preserve this community's desire for this site to improve this community and contribute to the economic vitality of this neighborhood. We didn't fight just to keep the station out. We fought for this community's right to have a say in what is built in their community and to create economic opportunity for its residents. I'd like to recognize the members of the Fairmont Heights Steering Committee because I have a posse. Or maybe it's a tribe, not sure how we call it these days, but it's because of their leadership, and the wall is their victory. So I'm not sure everybody that's here, but I'm going to call everybody's name who was a part of it at that time, and it was difficult. But I'll say that we always voted on consensus. Many people thought it was me and the Urban League. No, everything we decided to do, we took a vote, and I took my directions from them. So, President Dorian Johnson, Secretary Yolanda Green, Treasurer Victoria Lowry, Vice Chair Strengthening the Community, Ronnie Bryant, Vice Chair for Improving the Quality of Life, Sonia Dabney, Vice Chair for Public Safety, Pastor Thomas Reddick, President of the Resident Council at Georgia King Village, Hassan Glenn Hamilton, Vice President of Band, Carolyn Baramba, Central Assembly of God, Pastor Paul Valerius, Vineyard Baptist Church, Reverend James Bailey. So could you join me in celebrating them and thanking them for all of that they've done? So walls serve an important purpose, and they communicate many things. They can say, keep out. They can communicate, stay away. Walls bring out strong emotions too, because we care about our community and the unspoken messages we send through the design of buildings and structures. But the message of this wall is clear. There is no controversial art on the wall. When the community was asked what types of images they wanted on the wall, they asked for images that tell this community's story, its history, its children, its family, and its aspiration. This wall celebrates the Fairmont community. Thank you. Selecting world-renowned architect Sir David Ajay as the designer of the National African American History Museum in D.C. to design the enclosure communicates the pride that this community has for itself and its history, and it demonstrates that this community deserves this investment in the future. Artists from around the globe and right here in Newark have created pieces that celebrate the community and its aspirations. And I'm just going to take a moment to give a shout out to the Newark artists, because I think that's important, because this is an economic development project, because so often artists don't get the credit and they don't get paid, but they got paid on this project. So Jerry Gant, Kevin Darmany, Kevin Sampson, Manuel Acevedo, Gladys Grauer, and Willie Coe. So I'm very proud that through a great deal of hard work on everyone's part, and I'll say the Urban League, and I want to include the Board of Trustees of the Urban League, because I thought they were going to fire me, but they stood by me, so let's give the Board of Trustees of the Urban League a round of applause. PSE&G, the City of Newark, Mayor Baraka, and my new BFF, Councilman McCallum, and the Fairmont Heights Neighborhood Association, we have created a solution that will be a win-win thing of beauty. And so the art wall is a visible and beautiful testament to working together, finding common ground for a greater good while remaining true to our own missions. PSE&G was able to demonstrate its corporate citizenship through listening to the community, and the Fairmont Heights Neighborhood Association spoke loud enough for PSE&G to hear. That art transforms the switching station into a structure, into something that will visually enhance the surrounding neighborhood and can make the residents, not just in Fairmont Heights, but in Newark, proud. So we can be proud of what we achieved together. Millions of dollars will be providing funding to projects throughout the city, including a new community center right here in Fairmont. I'll let you clap for that. Certainly the remediation of a contaminated site, new street lighting, new park, and a redevelopment project that will create jobs and opportunity for residents that live right here in Fairmont. But PSE&G investment in Fairmont has not been limited to just this site. They sponsor the annual Fairmont Fair. They invest in the state's tax credit program that is helping us build new homes on Fairmont Avenue, provide financial coaching and home ownership preparation to residents, and a construction training program as well. We are also restoring a Victorian gym right here in Fairmont through this program, because the history and beauty of this community that's reflected in its people, its homes, and its public spaces can reflect our highest ideals. All of our projects will ensure that local residents are trained and employed and reap the economic benefits as well. It's not been an easy path to stand where we are right now, but we are all partners in our mutual progress, and I know the Art Wall is the first of many successful collaborations to come. I know this to be true because PSE&G understands that it will take more investment than this one project to build and rebuild Fairmont. The station and the art wall represent the ability that we have to create a community where the passion of each of us for our respective missions, our work, can complement and support the work of our citizens. The work of PSE&G to focus on the energy of today to meet tomorrow's needs. The Fairmont Heights Neighborhood Association, reflecting in its motto, our home, our hope, our neighborhood. And the city, a Renaissance city, believing in Newark, believing we can. And Sir David Ajay and the artists to touch and inspire us all. And the work of the Urban League to empower communities and change lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Would you all please join me in giving Vivian another round of applause? So, Mr. Mayor, we're trying to live up to that promise to leave this community better than we found it. We're doing our best. You know, the mayor talked about the Newarkers being upfront and vocal. I think he was referring to Vivian. But you know, there's another voice in this community. I call him the ambassador of Fairmont Heights. His name is Dorian Johnson. He's the president of Fairmont Heights Neighborhood Association. He's a quiet-spoken gentleman who we've had some very difficult conversations with, but he's always been able to get his point across. And Vivian, just for the record, he didn't have to talk loud for us to hear him. We heard him by listening to him. And I would like to ask Mr. Dorian Johnson to please come up here and say a few words on behalf of the residents of Fairmont Heights.
First of all, good morning, everybody. God is good, isn't he? God is good. We've come a long way. This was not easy, and that's an understatement. When this first came about, we were like, what? What is this? In our neighborhood? I don't think that's going to happen. So we went down there in buses, community got together, and we fought it. We fought it. But look where we're at now. So when I woke up this morning, I was a little bittersweet because of what we went through to what we have now. And that's why I say God is good, because he has a way of working things out. He has a way of working things out. So many people played a part in this. I mean, we went to PSC&G, their table, they came to our table. We went down to City Hall with the mayor, thank you, Mayor, and they were like, look, you guys got to come work together. And that's my objective now, to say to all of you, look at the city, look what's happening. Look at Georgia King Village. Look at the artwork that's being done here. I'm not used to this. I was born and raised in Newark. My parents brought me up to try to do the right thing. I can only imagine what they will see now for what we fought for. Even the brick, it was going to be gray at one time, just a gray building around. And we said, wait a minute, you know, what's wrong with the red brick? The brick is red. PSNG listened to us. It wasn't easy, I know. And I know we were pain in the neck sometimes. You always try to kill a messenger. But I have the utmost respect for this man, because I attended his father's wake. And even though I was paying my respects, the first thing he said to me is, it's going to be all right. And he was talking about this. He said, it's going to be all right. I was like, wow, you know, listen to him. Every time I saw him, or I saw the councilman, it's going to be all right. You'll see. And we battled it out. But hey, the future looks very bright. And I want to thank the Fairmont Heights Association for everything that you do. I'm so proud of you. I love all of you. Will you please stand up and be recognized, those who are here? They dedicate their time and effort for things like this. But we only just begun. There's a lot of work to do in this neighborhood. I can walk around it now and I see hope. Hope. People working together, different organizations are working together. Our mayor, our Councilman McCullen. We always going out giving out pies or toys and things like that to our neighborhood. It looks bright. Some people in the neighborhood, they're cleaning up in front of their house, at least on my block. You see? Before I had to clean my neighbor's side and then the other side. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I just doing this? But people see what's going on in the neighborhood now, and they're like, wait a minute, maybe I need to get involved. Maybe I need to come to a meeting. So when they see something positive in the neighborhood, what do they want to do? They want to do it also. And I just want to give a thanks to Ms. Vivian Frazier. I tell you, if I was in a foxhole or something, I would want her right next to me. Because she battled it out. It was not easy. And I was just so impressed with her, because it wasn't just a job. She was fighting for this community. When your heart is into something and you put it all in there, you can see that. And she didn't back down. Not at all. So I want to thank PSC&G for everything, for listening to us. That's all we ask, just to listen. Hear what we have to say in this community. So it's going to still take some time, but we're going to be there. We're going to be there every time in this neighborhood, in this city. I'm so proud to be a member of Newark, New Jersey. I'm so proud of it. And you should be too, all of you. I want to thank all the artists. We met with them, and they listened to us. We sat right there. They told us different things they wanted to do. I said, wow, that's pretty nice. Went over there, met with Mr. Saunders and them. I thanked them. Mr. Simmons, man, you've talked many times. I want to thank you. I want to thank you because you listened to us. Y'all didn't back down. And look what we have here. Look what this has accomplished. So I just want to thank all of you. This is a blessful day. I hope God continues to bless all of you. Thank you very much.
Doesn't he sound like an ambassador? Let me acknowledge, he just mentioned them, a gentleman who I've known basically my whole life, and his son who were hired to work on this project. Cecil and Chris Sanders are worth recognizing, construction managers and architects. Can't think of a time when I didn't know Cecil Sanders. So now we've been talking about this public-private partnership, and we've been talking about the artists. It's time to hear from the artists. One of the benefits of being a partner with the mayor of the city of Newark is he knows a lot more about art than most of the engineers at public service do. And this project is better off as a result of it. I'm going to ask Victor Davson, who is a practicing visual artist and co-director of Express Newark at Rutgers University, and Danny Simmons, an African-American abstract artist and the co-founder and chairman of Rush Philanthropic Arts Foundation, the two gentlemen who are responsible for this fine, high-quality art, to come up here and say a few words, please.
We should give Mr. Thigpen a round of applause. Isn't he excellent?
Take the village.
So, this is Danny. I'm Victor. We could see the light at the end of the tunnel. This has been a very long, very challenging project. So we're here today to celebrate two things that are powering the revitalization of Newark: PSC&G and the arts. And one of the things I want to talk about, and most people don't know, is that the mayor's dad was one of the people who would always drive by. He would stop in to Algira. And he, you know, I got here in 1974 to Newark as an immigrant who started out in Brooklyn. And I fell in love with Newark. And one of the people that I admired was Amiri. Amiri was a very important part of my sort of upbringing, in the sense of the kind of values, the creative, a model as an artist. And so he would stop by and check me out. And I miss him very much, because I think things like this, things like Raz becoming mayor, he's not here to experience. So I needed to mention that. So we're here to celebrate PSC&G and the arts, the two things that are powering Newark right now. This is a very emotional moment for me too, because my first son, Egan, was born right back there on 7th Street when I arrived in Newark. And my dad is buried in the Fairmont Cemetery. So I feel a very strong connection to this place. So Danny and I, you know, we go back a while too. I gave Danny his first show many years ago. Not such a great artist, but but you know, part of the mission of Algira was to really open the door for artists who were underrepresented. And but Danny is doing very well now. Danny, it's amazing. And I was delighted when Baye Wilson invited Danny and I to be the curators for this project, to select the artists for this project, and to have oversight of this project in terms of the creative enterprise, the creative piece. And you know, we had great ideas when we started out, but you know, we got checked by Joe McCollum. Joe McCollum was serious. He kept us real. Joe McCollum says, no, no, no. Half of these artists are going to be from Newark. I mean, we chose the best artists we could find, but Joe was there. He was checking us at every turn, and so was the Fairmont neighborhood people. We did not. The artists got their instructions. This was a very collaborative process. The artists got their instructions in part from this community. The piece behind us here, Fairmont Nebula, that's the name of it, was a collaboration between the artists, who we'll talk about later, Danny will mention later, and the community. Many of the images that you see in this piece, many of the images embedded are images of people in the community. So this was a collaborative process. It was not as if there were artists who were coming in and imposing their ideas. This was something, these artists were vetted. We had charrettes. We had, you know, we worked through this thing. There was a whole process in place. And I'm really, truly honored to have worked with David Adjaye, who conceptualized this brilliant, this wall. I mean, it's brilliant, it's beautiful. And also his associate, who I saw earlier, Russell Crater, and Mark Massey. And Mark, I don't know if you're here, but Mark was very good at solving problems as as the project progressed. So it has been our greatest pleasure working with a diverse team, and some of them are here today. CHS Construction was mentioned earlier, WSM Associates, PSNG, people from PSNG that we bonded with, or Calvin. You know, Calvin knows where you can find good food in Newark. Joe McQueen and Rupert Pond, those are people that we interacted with. Joe Gingoli, I think it is, contractors, Andy O.Y., and Jerry Zeman. So I just want to give a quick shout out here. Danny's going to give a quick shout out here for the artists, and I'm going to just step back. And the artist and consultant, Myra Brown Green. Myra was very, very helpful in working with some of the artists. So Danny is going to take the, Danny, you can take the mic and you can, yeah. Good.
Thank you. Hey guys, as Victor said, I have a special relationship with Newark. Victor said he gave me my first show, but not only that, I got my first review. So I've been coming back and forth to Algira for 25 years. So it's an amazing thing. I built an organization in, leave it. Then it won't fall again. I built an organization in New York City called Rush Philanthropic Arts Foundation, partially after seeing what Victor was doing here in Newark. So Newark has always been on the cusp of the arts. And while not as many outlets for the arts in Newark as New York had, it was always finding the most powerful, cutting-edge artists. So I was very happy when Deputy Mayor Baye Wilson asked me to please come and help curate this art show. I curate a lot of art shows, so it was like, okay, sure. But one of the things that resonated for me was the community empowerment aspect of what this project was about. I saw, I was living in Brooklyn at the time. I've since moved on, but I saw art revitalize and change Brooklyn so entirely that I knew instinctively that a project of this nature, of this scope, with these type of artists, would be a destination and a beacon for Newark. And that's what resonated with me and a lot of the artists that we chose. That not only were they creating pieces of artwork, but they were trying to create a legacy and a value for this community. And so when they talked about the community charrettes, there wasn't any friction because the artists came willing to listen. They came willing to try to understand and work with the community to find out what the community wanted to see and how they could blend their artistic styles with the community to come up with something that everybody liked and everybody could feel a part of. And so that was really, really important to me and really important to the artists. The other thing about this project that was different is usually when you hear about art on a wall somewhere publicly, somebody's painting art on a wall and they put some long-term paint. Baye Wilson had the idea that he wanted structures attached to this wall. And this was very different for a lot of the artists. Some of them were sculptors already, but a lot of these people were painters or did other things, and not everybody was prepared to do this type of work, this relief work that's on a wall. And so they had to dig deep, and there were all types of learning curves that the artists had to go through. They had to really go through and sit down with architects and designers and fabricators and very new things. And we've been at this for 3 years to get to here. The community's been at it longer, but I've been here for over 3 years working to get to this place where the art looks like it does, and it fits so well with the design of the wall. So I'm very grateful to have been part of it. I'm going to call out the artists' names now, because there are 14 great artists, and as Victor said, some of them are from here, and some of them from Brooklyn, and some of them from Florida, and some of them have been all over the world with their art. But right now, all their attention is focused on Fairmont Heights. So we got artist Willie Cole, Newark. Kevin Sampson, Newark. Jerry Gant, Newark. Aisha Bell, Brooklyn. Manny Acevedo, Newark. Musa Hickson, whose work we're standing in front of, Brooklyn. Gladys Grauer, Newark. Yala Ford, was New York, Florida, and she's here. Antonio Perez, where's Antonio from? Florida. I know it wasn't here or Brooklyn. Kevin Darmody, Newark. Mike Rader, Brooklyn. Lisa Soto, Newark. Otto Niels, Brooklyn. And of course, Myra Brown Green, who made sure that the work got done right. Thank you, Myra. Brooklyn. Thank you all for coming out. This is an amazing turnout for some amazing things that happened here that hadn't happened anyplace else in the world, because this is unique. The wall, the art, the way it's created, all of this is unique. This hasn't been done before. It will be a model for this type of partnership, and it'll be a model for how art is created to last at the test of time. So this will be here a long time. Your grandchildren will be marveling at this work. God bless you. Peace.
And that was Danny Simmons from Queens, right? All right. Trying to keep up. All right, our last speaker, last but by no means even close to being least, is David Ajayi, the overall overseer of this beautiful art. And Danny said it perfectly to us. Wait, hold on, man. Hold on now. I already said he's President. I already said he's President Obama's choice to be the architect for the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. He was also the president of Ghana's choice to design the National Cathedral of Ghana in Accra. I just spent a week in Ghana with my daughter, and that has a little extra special meaning for me. And he was named one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in 2017, the only architect to do that. And I want you to tell everybody how you pulled that one off when you come up here. We'd like to ask David Ajay to please come up here and share his thoughts with us.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here in Fairmont Heights, to be in this community. When we were approached, and Baye was very instrumental in making sure that we took the commission, we were really worried, of course. A switching station in this community, why? Should it be here? This was the kind of elephant in the room, and I just want to say it. But what I've learned in architecture and design is that when the opportunity seems complicated, that's maybe when your creativity has to kind of rise to that opportunity. And one gets opportunities to work in amazing places, but it's actually much more rewarding to work in places where people think design will not come to, or where design is not, where you won't see design, where you think the neighborhood that, that ordinary people live in and work in and kind of contribute to the lives and the worlds we live in, where architecture is seen to be just in the skyline and in the city. And so that really inspired me and made me and my team and all the kind of partners really rise to the challenge and to, as been said, you've heard, there were incredible meetings, there were tough meetings, but we wanted to create something that would make a place. And I love the state senator's statement that somebody drove past and thought this was a school or an institution because, wow, that meant we won. It isn't a wall. It's an asset for the community. It's something that could have been really problematic, which has been turned into something that is for the community. And the relief and the sense that we could do with the budgets we were given. I love that everybody says it's brick. It's actually not. It's concrete. It's actually what people sometimes hate, but it's about using design to change perception and to work within budgets and to do something that shifts perception but makes you feel like you understand it. So I'm very excited by all the things I've heard. I want to thank the Urban League. I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank Bayo and his team. I want to thank our partners who helped us design this. And most of all, I want to thank the artists because, as was said, it is not easy for artists to work in these kinds of environments. I mean, it used to happen a long time ago, Greece, Egypt. Doesn't happen often now. Maybe we should bring it back. I think this is really going to be a model that will really touch a lot of people, not just in this city, not just in this nation. It's already being talked about in the world. So I think you should be proud, and I'm really honored to have been part of this effort. Thank you.
Wow, to close this program, that was beautiful. Thank you, David. So, Mr. Mayor, I heard that the President Obama and the President of Ghana have selected him, but it's being chosen by the Mayor of Newark that's going to have the biggest impression on him. So that's a beautiful thing. So this has really been a remarkable day, and can anybody not notice that the sun is shining? It's actually a warm day, relatively. It's always fair weather when friends get together. Is that what somebody said? So I just want to close by pointing out it's a very proud day for public service. This is a beautiful partnership. There's so many winners, and it really did take a village to raise this very special switching station. And I'd like to give the village a round of applause before we end. And before I say a couple of closing remarks, I do want to note that there is a table with food in the back. We ask everybody when this is over to stay and enjoy some food. We also ask you, having heard from these artists, to walk around a little bit. There's some outstanding art that's on this station now. And this is really a very, very special day. And not only will this have a positive impact on public safety and public health, this is going to drive economic development in this community. And I'm looking forward to working with Vivian to see how she creates something very special in this community. She's worked so hard for it. You know, we worked hard at the mayor's request to make sure that we hired local people, that we use local businesses, That is so much epitomized by Joe Gingoli and what you've done for us, Joe. I do want to publicly thank you for your business model, your commitment to this community, and you do something that not everybody is willing to do. And I'd want to thank that outstanding team that works for Kim Hahnemann at Public Service, the engineers who've helped make all this possible. We'd all be remiss to think that this was simple and didn't take a lot of thought and planning and effort on the part of the Public Service team in that little division that we call DP&C, and I'd like to thank them as well. Are you supposed to clap? In case you forgot, right? And I just want to mention a couple of things. Two of the people who worked for us were successful in securing their union books. That's a big deal, and that's going to change some lives. 2 people were able to buy their first homes. One of them was the first in their family to ever do so. 3 of the people who worked here were fully trained in construction site management. That will be a transferable skill that will change their lives. One of the people was fully trained in construction safety and has already been tapped for other projects. And so we are just extremely proud of this public-private partnership. I could really go on and on. It really did take a village to raise this switching station. We owe all of you a debt of thanks. We owe the mayor a special debt of thanks because he is the man with the plan here, and we thank you for all you've done to make this happen. We thank the elected officials who were constantly on us to help make sure that we did the right thing, and I want to end by thanking Vivian Frazier and Ambassador Dorian Johnson for making sure that we did hear the concerns of this community. And I will simply say that Public Service is a better corporation as a result of the experience. We're going to do a better job for more people around the state. And we always want you to remember that little corporation called Public Service. We are here to be a partner with the public sector and to make the communities we serve better. Thank you all for being here today. This is really a very special day for all of us.
Today, of course, we're here at the opening of the Public Service Transfer Station here. It's something that's long overdue. It's going to help the residents, but it's a magnificent structure that they did. And they took the neighborhood in consideration here, not only providing the artwork, but they're also going to do a massive landscaping project here, so it works with the community. This area, the West Ward, is on the move. Between the school we've just built, the Donald Payne School that we're opening up June 4th, and the new Essex County Sheriff's Patrol building is really helping this community move forward.
My artwork represents interconnectivity, and it redefines the metaphysics of time and space. This particular piece is in the shape of Fairmont, and it represents interconnectivity and how we're interwoven as a people. This piece is really to accentuate the power of art, but the simplicity of space.
Today, Newark has become a art center. There's more galleries, there's more murals, and this mural project, I think, is just great. In the 70s, when we were starting out, I would never have envisioned anything this vast.
Art is alive and well in Newark, I want to tell you, and kudos to PSC&G, kudos to the members of the Fairmount neighborhood, and to the artists. Oh my God, some incredible artists all around this site. You've got to come up and see this. Newark is a city of the arts. People coming here from the next block and from the next state, from around the world, to see this fabulous place. My name's Jeremy Johnson with Newark Arts. Newark rocks.
Hi, my name is Karen Aaron. I'm with the Greater Newark Convention and Business Bureau, and we are beyond thrilled. This is another location that visitors from out of town can come and experience Newark, come and see our artists live and up close and personal. Thank you and kudos to PSC&G for taking this step and being forward and being forward thinking on how we can use Newark as a better location for our city, for our residents, and for outsiders to enjoy.
This is a tremendous event for Newark. And for the arts in Newark, and everybody connected to the arts. So as president of the board of the Newark Arts organization, I'm thrilled for the opportunities that this venue provides for celebrating the arts in Newark, the work of Newark artists, placed side by side with artists who are nationally and internationally renowned. including artists from Newark. So this is a huge event for all of us.
We're lucky enough to have new artwork that is done by Newark residents in the community that's going to beautify the neighborhood and just gives us a sense of pride and joy for what we have going on in the city now. And this is one of those times where we can say thank you to PSE&G, thank you to the City of Newark and Mayor Ras Baraka, and thank you to the community for being an amazing part about this.
To be involved in this is really like an honor, and there's so many great artists like that who are part of this that I'm really honored. I feel like this is a good thing for Newark, it's a good thing for the area, and hopefully it'll just keep developing and blossoming into something that continues to have a positive effect on the city.